A Queen City News investigation into a South Carolina nonprofit group is ending with an arrest. The former Pageland Chamber of Commerce president surrendered to a SLED agent this morning at the Chesterfield County Jail. His arrest comes 9 months after a Queen City News chief investigative reporter Jody Barr's rotten investigation.
But it looks like you've been charged with 3 counts of breach of trust with $10,000 or more.
Tim Griffin made the 1,000-mile trip from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Chesterfield to turn himself in. The former Chamber of Commerce president is now charged with taking money from the nonprofit he once led.
For the record, State Law Enforcement Division has provided a waiver of extradition. It sounds like you're willing to sign. It just indicates that that you're residing in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that you've indicated the intent to appear in Chesterfield County, South Carolina, upon the call of the court.
Griffin became a suspect when Ethan Ford, a chamber member and elected county councilman, grew suspicious of Griffin's handling of chamber funds.
I worked on this mural up until about June of last year.
The spending on this unfinished mural, for example. Renee Gardner says Tim Griffin hired her to paint it. He was supposed to pay her $4,000 for her work, money she truly needed at the time.
This was going to cover half of our new roof. You know, we had a leaky roof for a couple of years, and this was going to help us get that repaired. And so, but I needed to get another lift so that I could reach the top portion of the mural. And that's when I just started getting non-response for my request, and just basically was ghosted.
Ford's also a member of the Pageland Chamber of Commerce and part of the funding behind that mural project.
This is a cleared check from a donation, $1,000 from Highway 9 Liquor and Wine to the Pageland Chamber of Commerce, $1,000 and earmarked for a mural.
That mural is still unfinished. Ford spent months in 2023 demanding Griffin hand over the chamber's finance records, but Ford says Griffin wouldn't. In August 2023, Tim Griffin resigned as the chamber president, and the chamber board disbanded soon after. Ford then filed a lawsuit against the chamber and eventually got his hands on those banking and spending records, went through them, then asked SLED to open a criminal investigation.
This book to me represents a year's worth of deep diving into everything associated with Tim Griffin, the chamber president, the different organizations he was a part of, and all the allegations that people had. And
through subpoenas in the civil case, Ford obtained 3 years of bank statements and 5 years of Amazon purchases using the chamber's bank card. The bank records showed nearly 100 cash withdrawals, totaling $50,000 from this ATM in this downtown Pageland bank. There are no records showing what the cash was used for. The records also show Tim Griffin used the chamber's bank card at the Charlotte area Porsche repair shop. Griffin's name is on the invoice, along with a vehicle identification number.
I'm Tim Griffin. I represent the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development.
Griffin owned a Porsche Boxster at the time. It's the same car he got out of in this confrontation with a YouTuber. We know it's the same car because of the VIN plate the photographer recorded in this video.
I'll walk all day with you. I've got no other thing to do.
The VIN was an exact match to the invoice.
But there is quite a bit of money that we can account for, and it's accounted for in the wrong way.
Meaning?
Meaning there was money used, there was substantial amounts of money used for personal gain that I'll never be able to understand why Mr. Griffin thought he could get away with this.
The Amazon records show the chamber's card was used to buy multiple orders of men's intimate wear, lubricants, men's clothing, costumes, and even accessories for a Ford truck, similar to the make and year model of the one in Griffin's driveway, the day a SLED agent made a house call.
You know, this is the chamber members' money. This was never Mr. Griffin's money. This money should have been accounted for. I believe that there's a lot of money that we're still not going to be able to account for, even through our investigation.
The details in those financial records and that Porsche repair even surprised the chamber's former treasurer. Why would a president of this chamber have any reason to draw that kind of cash out of the account?
I have no idea.
Would you consider any of that as a board member expenditures related to the chamber?
If I would have seen those invoices, I would have said no. but I never saw those invoices or those shipping receipts for those items. So I had no idea that that's what it was.
And you understand those rights.
Griffin signed his bond paperwork and walked out of the jail, but he didn't come out of the front door for us to question him like all the other inmates.
Hey, Mr. Griffin!
Because the jail escorted him out of a back door.
Well, there he goes.
And away he went.
Tim Griffin is free to go back to his new home in Tulsa while he awaits trial on these South Carolina charges. However, Griffin signed a waiver of extradition that means if he fails to show for any court date, SLED can bring him back to the state without an extradition hearing. South Carolina Attorney General's office is prosecuting this case, and there is no trial date set yet.